Welcome to Minter Dialogue, episode number 71. This interview, recorded on August 22nd, 2013, is with Thibault Villet, co-founder and CEO of Glamour Sales China, a luxury flash sales site and part of the Glamour Sales Group. Having met Thibault in Shanghai this summer, we recorded this show to talk about the Glamour Sales business model and some of their keys to success in a market where e-commerce is growing very rapidly. We also discuss the differences of the Asian market online versus Europe and North America. It's a fascinating market. I hope you'll enjoy the show. Welcome to the Minter Dialogue Internet Show, where we discuss brand marketing with a focus on all things digital. I am Minter Dial, author of TheMyndset.com. That's TheMyndset, where branding gets personal. You'll find the show notes on the blog for the upcoming interview. Let's cut to the quick. Enjoy the show. Hello, and today I have piped directly in from Shanghai, China, thanks to Skype, Thibault Villet, who is an ex from L'Oréal like myself. So Thibault, tell us who you are and what you're up to in Shanghai.
So, hi, I'm Thibault Villet, and I'm the current CEO of Glamour Sales China. I've been in Asia for 15 years, working, as you mentioned, for L'Oréal, but also for Coach, the American handbags brand. And I co-founded Glamour Sales China in 2009. We are a pan-Asian private sales e-commerce company that operates in both Japan and China. And our business model is to sell branded products, mostly in fashion, lifestyle, and beauty, at a discount price to our members. We operate through now 2 countries with about 5 million members if we aggregate both countries, and we are proudly working exclusively with brands or their official distributors without any parallel sourcing, which means that we ensure our customer that they have access to legitimate brands and products. The other thing I want to mention is that we have partners with several successful financial and strategic partners, and in 2012 we welcomed the Neiman Marcus Group as one of our strategic investors.
Great. Well, we'll get into that afterwards. So you've got, well over 1,000 brands you're partnering with, or who are, have chosen to work and sell through you guys. What is your criteria for selection? I mean, at the base of my question, I'm thinking, what is luxury?
Well, our vision was very simple. We wanted to define luxury as brands which have a limited distribution, a very high quality, and great ethics, and which for us were fashionable, because the name Glamour Sales means that we are looking for glamorous brands and glamorous products. Therefore, we consider luxury brands like the traditional luxury, for example, Tod's, Dolce & Gabbana, Armani, but we also consider for markets like China or Japan, brands like Havaianas or brands like some cosmetic brands as being a luxury, because for those markets, the target audience who can afford those products and pay 4 to 10 times more than the normal product price for a simple brand, we consider that those target audience are more educated, sophisticated, and are part of what we call a luxury target audience.
If you look at the 5 million members you have between China and Japan, do you see any difference in the way that they approach and value luxury brands?
Yeah, because both markets are very different. The Japanese market is a market that has been customized to luxury for already 20 years. And our customers in Japan are actually looking for a mix of international brands, but also a lot of local brands. Our customers in Japan are also a bit more mature in terms of age, and are a bit more feminine in terms of gender. And they are very demanding in terms of the features of the product, the style, and so on. Our Chinese customers are more in a discovery phase, and our customers are more broad and different. We have tier 1 customers, those living in Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, which are already pretty educated with luxury brands, and they're looking for new products, niche products, which are not yet in China. Customers in tier 2 or tier 3 cities are looking more for brand names that would reassure them, and they're looking more for value. But also across the genders, we have a more diversified gender base in China, with about 30% of our customers being male, and we have also a more diversified scope of age, having customers from 20 to 50 years old in China. So we see differences. We see differences also in the way they consume. The Chinese customer could spend from $30 to $10,000, whereas our Japanese customers spend more between $50 to $1,000. So yes, definitely we see a lot of differences.
Well, I mean, I asked the question because, of course, if you're living in Paris or London and you're in luxury, a huge part of your clientele has always been Japanese and is more and more Chinese. So there's this whole, the Asian tiger for luxury is obviously a common and regular conversation over here. When we were thinking about these customers in luxury, what kind of services do they require that surprise you, or you think are absolutely sine qua non, and especially if it's different from what a luxury customer might be expecting or wanting in Europe or in America?
Well, in China, lots of customers actually are discovering luxury through online, because although luxury brands are aggressively expanding their physical distribution, the ones that have the broadest distribution would cover maximum 50, 60 cities through e-commerce, where I have customer across 1,000 cities in China. So for customers living outside of the big mainstream cities, probably they would come across those luxury brands for the first time through online. Therefore, there is a search for first information about why is this brand a luxurious brand? What is the heritage and craftsmanship? What makes those products unique and so expensive? So the search for information is very, very important. Then, obviously, because of the price point, there is a very, very strong demand for high quality, but also the way the brand and the products are presented in terms of the creativity and the information we provide to those customers is very important. So Chinese people are very demanding in terms of copywriting, mix and match, and information as regards to how to use the product, after-sales care, and so on and so on. Yeah. So the point I want to make here is that the service as a whole is not only about the customer service and the return and the way you handle the traditional after-sales part, but it's also through the web pages, through the pictures, through the copywriting, through the marketing. It's very, very important to reinforce all those points, which is very different from what you have in America or in Europe, where usually the brands would like just to show the products and push the audience to have with a minimum number of clicks make the purchase.
And then, of course, there's the issue of counterfeit. But what you're saying sounds more like a more mature market, where they're looking for the bigger picture, the storytelling, the history of the brands, and that's maybe the marketers in e-commerce have gone a little bit too shortcut in the US or the more developed markets in terms of exposing the brand.
Yeah, I do agree that customers, when they go online nowadays, they want to get all these informations, because generally speaking, those customers in China are very thirsty for information, for new things. And before making the decision, they will be reading a lot, comparing a lot, and also asking and interacting with our customer service. So this is very, very important. And contents, but also the number of pictures, the number of information provided, usually in China is more than what other countries are requesting. And this is not so much for me a surprise. And actually, lots of brands that cooperate with us are using us not only as a channel to sell products, but a lot of them are using us as a channel to market themselves and gain brand awareness. And that's one of the reasons why we cooperate now with over 1,000 brands between the two countries.
Mm-hmm. So in China, I was just there with you and I got to know a little bit more about the market on the inside. E-commerce is exploding. M-commerce is exploding. And so you have these huge platforms like Alibaba that are there. How do you manage to make the difference? Because e-commerce has this crazy ability to democratize, and everyone can do it. All you have to do is write code, kind of thing. What are the kinds of things that you are doing at Glamour Sales to differentiate yourselves in terms of luxury versus basic e-commerce platforms?
So basically what we do is two things. First of all, we worked a lot on building a brand, and the Glamour Sales brand stands for a platform that offers to smart shoppers unique, affordable or less affordable but fashionable and or luxury brands which with a high quality. And we work on building a platform which is first and foremost aspirational and which is consistent. So this goes through all the brand building efforts we have done to promote the brands, using celebrities, using partnership with the right fashion medias, using even VIP customer events where we're focusing on this brand image, but it then translates into the website itself, the high quality and creativity of our design, shootings, as well as integrated marketing campaigns, and also the quality of the service, which starts from the packagings up to the service providers we are using, the call center, and the overall delivery and after sales experience. So we really work on the first hand, selecting the right products and brand, and enhancing the fact that by working directly with the brand partners, we get real, genuine products. But to your point, it's not enough because everybody can sell products from the right brands. What we really focus on is building this unique brand image of Glamour Sales through a unique customer experience. And so far in China, we have been able to loyalize pretty heavily our buyers, because we managed to get close to 50% repurchase rate, which is a very good figure compared to the industry average.
It certainly is. All right, so you guys are flash sales, and so I'm going to assume that email is your biggest business driver. Can you talk us through how you drive the business?
Well, obviously, email has been the primary driver to drive the business. However, China is a pretty competitive market, and while email remains important, we have to leverage all the different marketing strategies. And we also leverage, obviously, search, advertising, social medias, get members, partnerships, affiliation, SMS, and now more and more the social medias, our own social medias, being Weibo, which is the equivalent of Facebook, or Weixin, which is a new powerful social media here. So it's not only one single driver, and EDM remains popular and important for your VIP customers, but you cannot only rely on this media, and you need to find the right recipe and adjust the recipe as business evolves.
So just on a practical level, you're sending out generally one email a day. I mean, you have one hit hour every day, And then how many different varieties of emails are you sending out?
Well, we're moving actually towards what we call personalization. So we used to have a basic segmentation with a limited number of groups, and now we're moving towards really personalizing the contents of the emails based on your previous browsing and purchasing experience. So we are sending emails based on your expectations in terms of categories you are interested in, or purchasing or visit behavior, but we are adding now in each email we send a personalized component, which is pushing the relevant brands or products to you. And we have different sets of emails. Some of our customers prefer weekly emails, others prefer daily emails, and we are constantly refining and optimizing this strategy.
So, I mean, generally speaking, I mean, if I think of Guilt, which I know well, they send out one email to their, generally speaking, they're looking to drive one email a day, which goes out at noon. Do you have, like, in China, is there the best time to send out an email, for example?
We have our events starting in the morning at 9 o'clock. And we're sending our emails in the evening at 12 hours before. This being said, we're adding now some events in the evening as well, which we found an interesting time for people to shop. And in Japan, we are actually launching all our events at 8 o'clock in the evening. So according to the countries, we have different patterns, but we follow a similar concept of hitting the market with new and fresh products at the same time every day.
And all right, so I know your site, by the way, it's not available in English, right? It's only in Japanese and Chinese?
That's correct.
All right. And so you've got all these different, so Weibo, WeChat, Twitter, Facebook. That's a lot of different elements to be managing. How do you manage on the database side? Because, let's say you have a customer and they have a Twitter account and a Weibo account. Is there what progress are you making in terms of consolidating and knowing the one customer?
Well, this is the focus of the moment of our marketing and IT teams. So together with both teams and external vendors, we have this program which we call internally the single customer view, which is tracking the interactions that the customers have with our different channels, and by creating a single customer ID in our databases and linking the information we have as regards to their behavior, we're step by step having this single customer view, despite the challenges that we face in terms of technology. But this is really the main focus that we have. And for the time being, we are blending the different medias, and we call it our omni-channel strategy, because we basically operate 4 platforms between the websites, our HTML5 responsive mobile sites, our Android app, and our iPhone app. And we have to play with the different ways to drive traffic to those different platforms and to register where and how our customer is shopping. And very often, our customer could start shopping or browsing in the morning at 9 o'clock on an iPhone, then go back to his account on the website during lunch, and finish in the evening browsing on an iPad. And obviously, following this is the current challenge that we're trying to solve.
Well, in my discussions with a few other companies about this, it typically comes down to how can we encourage our clients to put all their information together for us, because you'll have a different email account for Twitter, you might have a different, and especially on things like QQ, where you're going to have at least 2 accounts in China, because that's the nature of the game in China. Are you working that way, or you're trying to do it passively? In other words, you take care of it as opposed to having them take care of it?
In China, customers have several identities. You mentioned about multiple email accounts. You also have Weibo accounts. You also have mobile phones, which are now used a lot for WeChat. So there are several ways for customer to log in from their QQ, Weibo, or their phone number. So we're trying to gather all different touch points and creating our own Glamour Sales ID and try to reconnect the dots. So this is the solution we have taken so far, because you don't have only one, let's say, Facebook identity that everybody would use in the US. In China here, you have usually multiple identities.
And in terms of your database, is that a proprietary database system, or are you using an open market one, or another one off the shelf? How do you manage that data?
So far, we have built up a proprietary system run on a software which is an open source software, and we also complementary to that work with agencies specialized in hygiene, data cleansing, segmentation, data mining, and so on. So it's a joint effort.
I imagine that. And you mentioned returns a little earlier. I was just curious. Tell us what are the returns ratios like, if you can tell us, and how different they are from China to Japan.
Well, generally speaking, the Chinese market is less loyal than the Japanese or European markets. This being said, because of all the efforts and programs and loyalty schemes that we have put in place, we managed to get about 50% repurchase rate over a 12-month period. And it's slightly higher in Japan, where we would be at 60. But it's, for Chinese standards, very good. As regards to the way we engage with the customers, we obviously have built a lot of CRM activities and triggers to encourage the visits. And this is very important in Asia, where customers love discounts, promotions, but more importantly, they love recognition. And establishing VIP programs or VVIP programs with recognition, specific hotline numbers, or specific access to some events is something very important in Asia.
And what about returns? What percentages do you see?
You mean about customer sales returns?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a pretty healthy return. We are below 20%, which compared to markets like the US, where you could have up to 40% for full price merchandise, it's still healthy. The average industry return in China at the moment for ready to wear is about 25, so we are significantly lower. This being said, we also see that as a consumer is getting more used to buying online, he's also more prone to return products. So on some categories like shoes or some specific dresses or jeans, you could see that customers are returning products more easily. So I would say, generally speaking, the market is not yet very mature in terms of returning products, but consumers are learning fast, and you really need to try to reduce the return rate by providing more relevant information, product information, sizing information, but also having the right customer service answers on time whenever customers are asking questions.
What can you tell us about your sales and profits?
I can tell you that our sales are growing 3 digits for 4 years, and that we have now a clear target date for break-even, which is something we see in a very foreseeable future.
And what is the key to getting? I mean, because we look at e-commerce in in majority of cases, I mean, of course, from Amazon on, profitability is a hard thing. What for you are the key drivers for profitability?
So obviously, one of the drivers is size, because you have scale economies when you're reaching some size. But I would say the other one is basically optimizing all our costs and optimizing the cost of logistics, the cost of marketing, as well as all the other costs associated to the business are very important to reach the break-even. The other way is to smartly blend a mix of brands where you have an average margin and add some other products which are offering higher margin. But you have to do that very carefully in order not to dilute your brand equity and overall brand image.
Yeah, beautiful. Thibault, I really appreciate it. It's great to have you on the show. Tell us, if anyone listening would like to, where would you point them in terms of getting in touch with you, the company? Give us a couple of addresses for us.
Well, they can contact me at ceo@glamoursales.com.cm, which is the contact point for me, and I'm checking those emails on a regular basis. And otherwise, you can always search me on LinkedIn and approach me through LinkedIn.
Beautiful. Thibault, thanks again for your time. Great to listen to you. Thought that was really interesting, and I hope the listeners enjoyed it too.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for having listened to this recording of the Minter Dialogue Internet Show. You'll find the show notes on themindset.com, where you can also sign up for my weekly newsletter at /subscribe. If you like the show, please rate it in iTunes, and don't forget to click the handy Facebook like button or to tweet it out. In the meantime, please come join the conversation at The Mindset, or catch me on Twitter at MDIAL. Happy trails.